Okay, good.
Not in the morning.
All right. Nothing here?
Well,
Denise? Second. Come back to you, Vince.
I think we should be encouraged constantly to share the gospel.
I'm sorry, what?
We should be encouraged constantly to remember to share
Of
the gospel.
course, Denise would say that. That's right. That's what we should be doing. We should be encouraging each other to share the gospel. Absolutely. That's a primary objective. Thank you. That's great. Vince?
I love all this stuff.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, but...
I don't watch Ancient Aliens on TV though, but I think we don't want to deviate or spend too much time away from this.
Exactly. No, I appreciate that. However, the words that we talk about are there.
Part of what appeals to me about you in this class is that stuff,
Okay.
but you don't want to deviate.
I don't want to deviate too much either. I don't want...
Well, there's the,
there's the Noah group, the Days of Noah group. Esther?
I think the hardest thing I have is spending enough time in prayer.
Ah,
Because, you get busy, and in the middle of my prayer, I say, oh, I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and then my mind goes off, and I said, oh, Lord, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked, and
Mhm.
mentally. And I feel that just concentrating on prayer is my biggest thing.
and so, what should we do here?
Pray more.
How should we do
Individually,
that?
not necessarily group,
Not
but
necessarily group?
individually.
Okay,
Because I think that's
Okay.
really important.
okay. I love that idea too. I think that would be wonderful. Karen?
I was just going to say, so then in the group, it's just like the reminder to share the gospel, the reminder to pray more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. All right, well, I had another great question here. I don't know why it does this. How about this? What's going to happen? What's going to happen through our group meetings? What's we going to see? Yes, Joe.
We have to remember whose we are.
We have to remember whose we are. Very good.
Because we are going to be bombarded constantly in the news, papers, on what's going on in the world. Has no truth to it whatsoever according to God's word. And we have to watch what we listen to, what we read, and who do we want to believe? And we have to, as time goes on, we get deeper into the word. And we have to remember, that's God's word, that's not some man's word, that's God's word. And it's the encouragement that we get. And then we come in here and we get encouraged more, and then we're with each other, we get encouraged more. So it's you can't go wrong.
The opening salvo, we need to remember whose we are and encourage each other that we do belong to Christ. In fact, there is something in here that you're going to hear. I'm going to play a little bit of a sermon by Ray Stedman. And he talks about that because Job forgets who he is. Job forgets that in chapter 3. And so he needs to relearn that idea. Yes, someone here. And don't pay attention to this. I realize now sometimes I make changes and then I close it, forgetting to save the changes. So this is all wonker jog. I don't even know what I was trying to do anymore. Yes.
I think I would really like to see it so that we're capable of witnessing better through the group. I found myself, I remember one time I remembered that, do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Right.
And the answer was yes, and then I couldn't remember another darn thing. And so I really would I'd like to be able to continue that on a little better.
There you go. No, I get it. Oh, how many of us have felt that? Like, blank. Yes.
Well, kind of summarizing what both Joe said and what Vince said, that reminds me of what Ray used to say all the time, and it's in the church office, and that's keep the main thing the main thing.
Keep the main thing the main thing. Yep. All right. And the main thing is?
The main thing is.
The main thing is God. The main thing is God. And that's true. And remember, want to talk about aliens for a second? We're aliens in this world. All right? This world is not our home. We're aliens here. All right? So don't get so comfortable in where we are and what we're doing that we don't remember whose we are. We belong to God, and our ultimate purpose is to find fulfillment with Him. All right, so, Rich?
Another thought, what we should do is to have the courage to stop being the silent minority.
Okay.
Vocally.
Okay. And so we just get beyond that first question to get to the next one. So I'm just having a blank. What is the next one? If you were to really... See?
Who is Jesus to you?
What's that?
I think it's who is.
Who is Jesus? Well, who is Jesus to you?
Or maybe that's number 3.
Yeah, turning. Yeah, but Karen and I, we're talking with people now, and every time we're talking with somebody, we're trying to figure out a way to turn the, remember, you got to turn the conversation to something. And so sometimes Karen will do it, and afterwards I'll go, hey, you did a great turn there. That was great. Sometimes I'll do it, and she'll say, you tried. No, I'm sorry, Karen. I always do that, and then she gets upset. She's not that critical of me. She's not that critical of me. Anyway. See, I don't know why I did this all happen in our group. What will happen? I don't really know what I was getting at then, but it sounded so great back then. We're going to go into, I want to go into Job now, all right? So, but I just want you to know, I want participation. That's the unique thing about this this setting, and that is, I'm not just up here teaching, and there's 1,000 people out there. You can't have people raising your hand there. But here, when you have a comment, you want to say something, you want to ask a question, please raise your hand, even if we're playing something, because I'm going to try to figure out how to do this in a way where I can actually stop the sound. And so I was working on this morning, and I worked for hours trying to get it. No, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to move. And so I just played it before. We don't. Oh, it was something about Facebook. What was that?
Oh, we were going to try and do that at the beginning, but...
Oh, at the beginning? Oh, I messed up?
Well, I think I missed it. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, then we're going to hang that on. All right. So here was the point. Just bear with me for a moment. All right. I'm going to undo this one. I'm going to take this one. I don't even know if this is going to work, but there's some things that I wanted to play. I wanted to play, and I didn't do the sound test on this, so here goes
Everybody
nothing.
plug your ears. Oh.
Yeah, plug your ears, because this might be loud. But I can turn it down here. I tell you what, I'll turn it down here. Okay. All right, introduction. We've been studying Job. That's what we started with. We got through Job chapter 1. We got through Job chapter 2. I mean, it didn't take very long for Job to be introduced, who he was. He was a very wealthy man. And then all of a sudden, like in verse 4 or 5, then he starts losing stuff. He loses all of his sheep. He loses all of his cattle. He loses all of his kids. He loses everything. And then Satan appears before God again, and God says to Satan, hey, considering Job again? And God brings this up to Satan, and Satan says, yeah, well, because you take away his health, and then he'll turn against you. And so the Lord allows Satan to bring boils all over Job's body. And so we find Job sitting on an ash heap because he was wearing what kind of clothes? Wearing sackcloth, sitting on an ash heap and scraping I mean, I don't mean to be graphic, but he's essentially scraping the pus off of his sores with a broken piece of pottery. I mean, this is where we find Job. And then at the end of chapter 2, his friends come, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. I think those are the names. And most of the bulk of the book of Job are conversations. Eliphaz speaks, and then Job responds. And then Bildad speaks, and then Job responds. And then Zophar speaks, Job responds. And then they go through it one more time. Bildad, Job, Zophar. I forgot the order. And then finally, it's Elihu, who is a younger one. He comes on the scene at some time. I'm not sure if he's there right at the beginning, but he comes on the scene, and he's a younger guy, and he speaks. And then Job speaks, and then God answers Job. And then Job says something, and then finally God begins to ask all kinds of questions of Job in Job 38. And that's the stuff that that's going to be so fun to deal with as we get into it. But right now, that's where we are. Job's been introduced. He's lost everything. He's lost his health. He's sitting on this heap of ashes. And what does his wife say to him?
Go get a job.
Curse God and die. And then what does Job say to his wife?
Even though he slay me, I
Even though he slay me, yet I will